I don't have to understand anything, Emma interrupted. You threw me out. You called me a criminal. You chose them over me. She gestured at Marcus and Vivian, who were starting to edge away from the confrontation. But you're right about one thing. You did make a terrible mistake. And now you're going to have to live with it. She turned away from her father's shocked face and let Dante guide her through the crowd. Behind them, she could hear Marcus trying to convince Richard that nothing was wrong, that Dante was lying, that Emma was the real villain. But the seed of doubt had been planted, and Emma knew it would grow. Unexpected feelings. Later that night, Emma and Dante stood on the balcony of his penthouse apartment, looking out at the city lights below. The gala had ended hours ago, but Emma's mind was still racing with everything that had happened. You were incredible tonight, Dante said, handing her a glass of wine. The way you stood up to Marcus and your father, it was exactly what we needed. By tomorrow, everyone will be questioning the official story. Emma took a sip of wine, feeling the warmth spread through her chest. I couldn't have done it without you. The information about the merger, the way you backed me up, it made all the difference. We're partners in this, Dante reminded her. Your fight is my fight now. Emma looked at him, really looked at him in the soft light of the balcony. Over the past 6 weeks, she had learned so much about this complicated, dangerous man. He was ruthless when he needed to be, but also surprisingly gentle. He pushed her to be stronger but never made her feel weak. He had given her the tools to fight back but never tried to fight her battles for her. And somewhere along the way, she had started to care about him in a way that went far beyond their business arrangement. The mess Marcus created and blamed on Emma, Dante corrected. Tell me, Mr. Monroe, have you noticed any unusual transfers from your accounts in the past 2 months? Any contracts signed in your name that you don't remember authorizing? Richard's expression flickered with uncertainty. I don't know what you're talking about. Check your records, Dante advised. Specifically, look at the Sterling merger agreement that was signed 3 weeks ago. The one that gives Marcus control of 40% of Monroe Industries. I'm betting you'll find some very interesting details in the fine print. Emma watched her father's face go pale. She hadn't known about this part of Dante's investigation, but seeing her father's reaction, she knew it was true. Marcus had been stealing from the company just like he planned, using the scandal to distract everyone while he took what he wanted. That agreement was perfectly legal, Marcus said quickly, sweat beading on his forehead. Your father signed it willingly, Emma. He wanted to strengthen our business relationship. Did you, Dad? Emma asked softly. Did you willingly give 40% of grandfather's company to the man who framed your daughter? Richard looked between Emma and Marcus, confusion and anger warring on his face. For the first time since the scandal broke, Emma saw doubt in her father's eyes. I need to check my records, Richard said slowly. He looked at Emma, really looked at her for the first time in weeks. Emma, if what Mr. Blackwood is saying is true, if Marcus did frame you, then I've made a terrible mistake. If. Emma felt tears burning in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Dad, I told you the truth from the beginning. I begged you to believe me. But you chose to trust Marcus over your own daughter. I'm sorry, Richard whispered, and he actually looked sorry. I was so angry and hurt I couldn't see clearly. But Emma, you have to understand. For a moment real fear flashed across Marcus's face. But then he covered it with another fake smile. I hope you're not making threats, Emma. That wouldn't look good for someone already facing criminal charges. Those charges will be dropped, Dante said confidently. My lawyers are already working on it. And once Emma's name is cleared, we'll be having a very interesting conversation about who actually stole from Monroe Industries. The color drained from Marcus's face completely. Vivian's grip on his arm tightened, her own expression turning worried. You can't prove anything, Marcus said, but his voice lacked conviction. Can't I? Dante's smile was sharp and dangerous. I've built my fortune on proving the impossible, Sterling. You should be very afraid right now. The confrontation escalates. Marcus opened his mouth to respond, but a new voice interrupted them. Emma? Is that really you? Emma's heart sank as her father pushed through the crowd. Richard Monroe looked older than she remembered, with new lines around his eyes and gray in his hair. He stared at her with a mixture of shock, anger, and something that might have been regret. "Dad," she said quietly, her earlier confidence wavering. "What are you doing here?" Richard demanded. "You're facing criminal charges. You should be preparing your defense, not attending parties." "She's here with me," Dante said firmly. "Emma is innocent, Mr. Monroe, and I'm going to prove it. The question is, will you believe the truth when it's presented to you? Or will you continue to trust the man who is actively stealing from your company?" Richard's face turned red with anger. "How dare you suggest that Marcus is a thief? He's been nothing but loyal to me, helping clean up the mess Emma made." "Emma, I have to say I'm surprised to see you here," Marcus continued, his voice dripping with false sympathy. "After everything that's happened, I would have thought you'd want to stay out of the public eye." Vivian smirked, her eyes glittering with malice. "Some people just don't know when to accept defeat." Emma felt Dante's hand tighten on her waist, steadying her. She took a deep breath and forced herself to smile. "Hello, Marcus. Vivian. You both look well. Destroying people's lives must agree with you." Marcus's smile faltered for just a second. "I don't know what you mean. I've been devastated by your betrayal, Emma. The whole situation has been terrible for everyone." "Has it?" Dante's voice cut through the tension like a knife. He stepped forward, his tall frame making Marcus look smaller by comparison. "I'm Dante Blackwood, Emma's fiancé. And I have to say, Sterling, I'm fascinated by your version of events." Marcus's face paled slightly. Everyone in the business world knew who Dante Blackwood was. His company was worth billions, and his reputation for crushing his competitors was legendary. "Mr. Blackwood," Marcus said, trying to regain his composure, "I had no idea you and Emma knew each other." "We've known each other for quite some time," Dante lied smoothly. "In fact, I was investigating the supposed theft from Monroe Industries when I discovered some very interesting information. Information that suggests Emma was framed." Vivian laughed nervously. "That's ridiculous. The evidence against her was overwhelming." "Evidence can be manufactured by people who know what they're doing," Emma said, her voice steady despite the rage building inside her. "But the truth always comes out eventually. And when it does, Marcus, you're going to wish you had never met me." She turned to find Sophie pushing through the crowd, her face a mixture of shock and joy. Her former best friend looked almost afraid to get too close, as if Emma might disappear like a ghost. "Sophie," Emma said warmly, genuinely happy to see a friendly face. "It's good to see you. I can't believe you're here. After everything that happened, I thought." Sophie's eyes filled with tears. "I've been so worried about you. No one knew where you went. Your father wouldn't talk to me, and the news said terrible things. I needed time to recover and figure out the truth," Emma said carefully. "But I'm back now, and I'm going to prove my innocence." Sophie's gaze shifted to Dante, who was watching the interaction with those intense dark eyes. "And you are Dante Blackwood," he said smoothly, extending his hand. "Emma's fiancé." The word hung in the air like a bomb. Sophie's mouth fell open in shock. "Fiancé? But what about Marcus? The wedding?" "Marcus showed his true colors," Emma said coldly. "Dante helped me see what was really happening. He saved my life in more ways than one." It wasn't entirely a lie. Dante had saved her life that night in the fire, and he was helping her fight back. The fake engagement was just details. "This is incredible," Sophie breathed. "Emma, I want to help. Whatever you need to clear your name, I'm with you. I never believed those awful stories." Emma felt genuine warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you, Sophie. That means more than you know." The ex-fiancé's return. Well, well. Look who decided to show her face. The cold, familiar voice made Emma's blood freeze. She turned slowly to find Marcus Sterling standing behind her, Vivian clinging to his arm like a poisonous vine. Her former fiancé looked smug and confident in his expensive suit, his handsome face twisted with fake concern. Emma slipped her arm through his, feeling the solid strength beneath the expensive fabric. Over the past weeks, they had spent hours together planning, training, and preparing for this moment. She had learned that Dante was ruthless in business, fiercely protective of the people he cared about, and haunted by his sister's death in ways he tried to hide. She had also learned that being close to him made her heart race in ways that had nothing to do with their fake engagement. "I'm ready," she said firmly. "Let's give them a show they'll never forget." The grand entrance. The Metropolitan Grand Hall glittered with crystal chandeliers and flowing champagne. The city's wealthiest and most powerful people mingled in designer clothes and sparkling jewelry, their laughter and conversation filling the vast space. This was Emma's world once before everything fell apart. As she entered on Dante's arm, the room fell silent. Every head turned to stare at her, whispers spreading like wildfire through the crowd. "Is that Emma Monroe? I thought she was in hiding after the scandal. Who is that man with her?" "That's Dante Blackwood, the billionaire. Why would he be with her?" Emma kept her head high and her smile cool as they walked through the crowd. She could feel hundreds of eyes judging her, remembering the accusations and the shame. Part of her wanted to run and hide like she had 6 weeks ago. But she wasn't that person anymore. "Breathe," Dante murmured in her ear, his hand warm on the small of her back. "You're doing beautifully. Let them stare. Let them wonder." They made their way to the bar, where Dante ordered champagne for both of them. Emma's hand shook slightly as she took the glass, but she managed to keep her composure. "Emma? Emma Monroe. The transformation begins." Emma stared at her reflection in the floor-to-ceiling mirror and barely recognized herself. 6 weeks had passed since she made the deal with Dante Blackwood, and everything about her had changed. Gone was the soft, uncertain girl who had trusted too easily and smiled too much. In her place stood a woman with sharp eyes and sharper edges. Her brown hair, once long and simple, now fell in elegant waves around her shoulders, colored with subtle highlights that caught the light. Her body, toned from daily training sessions with Dante's personal instructor, looked powerful in the designer dress that hugged her curves. "You look magnificent," said Isabel, the stylist Dante had hired to help with Emma's transformation. "Like a completely different person." That was the point. Emma Monroe, the naive heiress who had been so easily fooled, was dead. This new version of herself was stronger, smarter, and ready to make her enemies pay. "The car is ready, Miss Monroe," announced James, Dante's driver and bodyguard. "Mr. Blackwood is waiting downstairs." Emma took one last look in the mirror, smoothing down the emerald green dress that Dante had chosen for tonight's charity gala. The event would be her first public appearance since the scandal, and she knew Marcus and Vivian would be there. The thought made her stomach twist with both nervousness and anticipation. Dante was standing by the sleek black car when she stepped outside. He wore a tailored black suit that made him look like he had stepped out of a fashion magazine. His dark eyes swept over her appreciatively, and something warm flickered in their depths. "Perfect," he said, offering his arm. "Are you ready to show the world that Emma Monroe is far from defeated?" Nothing about this was clean or simple, and Emma knew it. But what choice did she have? She could rot in prison for crimes she didn't commit, or she could take this devil's deal and fight back. "I want one more thing," she said firmly. "I want to learn everything. How to be strong, how to fight back, how to never let anyone use me again. Can you teach me that?" Dante's smile widened, showing teeth. "Oh, Emma, I'm going to turn you into the kind of woman who makes men like Marcus Sterling wake up screaming. Do we have a deal?" Emma thought about Marcus's cruel laugh, Vivian's smug smile, and her father's betrayal. She thought about dying alone in that fire, forgotten and despised. Then she looked at the evidence in her hands and the dangerous man offering her a second chance. "We have a deal," she said, shaking his hand. Dante's grip was firm and warm. "Welcome to your new life, Emma Monroe. Let's burn down everyone who tried to bury you." Emma opened the folder with shaking hands. Inside were documents, photographs, and evidence that could clear her name and put Marcus in prison for decades. There were also bank statements showing transfers of money from Marcus's accounts to various illegal enterprises. "How did you get all this?" she whispered. "I have resources that your father could only dream of. Money, connections, people who owe me favors. I've been collecting evidence against Marcus for years, waiting for the right moment to strike." Dante's eyes locked with hers. "You're that moment, Emma. Help me and I'll help you. Together we can bring down everyone who hurt us. Why do you need a fake fiancé? Why not just expose him yourself?" "Because Marcus's family has connections to some very powerful people. If I go after him directly, they'll protect him and I'll lose my chance. But if I have someone on the inside, someone he trusts and underestimates, someone who can get close to him again, then we can strike when he least expects it. Dante leaned closer. You're the perfect weapon, Emma. He thinks you're broken and powerless. He'll never see you coming. Emma's mind raced with possibilities. The idea of using Marcus the way he had used her felt satisfying in a dark, vengeful way. But pretending to be engaged to this dangerous stranger for 6 months? That was a different kind of risk. What do you really get out of this? She asked. There has to be more to it than just revenge. Dante smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. Smart girl. Yes, there's more. My family has been pressuring me to settle down and get married. Having a beautiful, sophisticated fiancé will get them off my back while I focus on destroying Marcus. It's a win-win situation. And after 6 months? We stage a dramatic breakup, you keep the evidence and your new life, and we go our separate ways. Clean and simple. Dante was quiet for a long moment, his jaw tight with barely controlled anger. When he finally spoke, his voice was cold as ice. 5 years ago, Marcus's father and business partners destroyed a small pharmaceutical company that was developing affordable cancer treatments. They stole the research, buried the patents, and bankrupted the founders. One of those founders was my sister, Elena. Emma's breath caught. What happened to her? She couldn't handle the loss. Everything she had worked for, stolen and destroyed by greedy men who only cared about profit. She took her own life 6 months later. Dante turned to face Emma, and she saw the pain and rage burning in his eyes. I've spent every day since then building my fortune and planning my revenge against everyone who hurt her. Marcus Sterling and his family are at the top of that list. The devil's deal. Emma didn't know what to say. This stranger had saved her life, and now he was telling her they had a common enemy. Seemed too convenient to be real. Why are you telling me this? She asked carefully. Dante walked back to her bedside and sat down. Because I have a proposition for you, Emma. A way for both of us to get what we want. And what do I want? Revenge, he said simply. You want to destroy the people who betrayed you. You want to prove your innocence and watch Marcus and Vivian pay for what they did. Am I wrong? Emma's hands clenched into fists. He wasn't wrong. She wanted revenge more than she wanted her next breath. Even if that's true, I have no money, no power, no way to fight them. They've taken everything from me. That's where I come in. Dante pulled out a folder and handed it to her. I'm offering you a deal. Pretend to be my fiancé for 6 months. Appear with me at social events, business functions, and family gatherings. Play the part convincingly, and in return, I'll give you everything you need to destroy Marcus and Vivian. A man sat in a chair beside her bed, watching her with those same intense dark eyes. In the daylight, Emma could see him more clearly. He was probably in his early 30s, wearing an expensive suit that fit him perfectly. His black hair was styled back from his face, showing sharp cheekbones and a strong jaw. He was devastatingly handsome in a dangerous sort of way. Who are you? Emma asked, her voice rough from smoke inhalation. My name is Dante Blackwood, he replied calmly. I'm the man who saved your life 3 days ago. 3 days. Emma tried to sit up, but pain shot through her body. I've been unconscious for 3 days? Your injuries were severe. Broken ribs, a concussion, second-degree burns on your arms and legs. The doctors say you're lucky to be alive. He leaned forward, studying her face with an intensity that made her uncomfortable. Someone tried to kill you, Emma Monroe. Do you know who? Hearing her name from his lips sent a strange shiver through her. How do you know who I am? Everyone knows who you are. The scandal has been all over the news. Corporate thief, they're calling you. A spoiled heiress who betrayed her family for money. His tone was neutral, giving no indication of whether he believed the accusations or not. Emma felt tears burning in her eyes. I didn't do any of those things. I was set up by my fiancé and my stepsister. They framed me, and now they're trying to kill me to cover their tracks. I know, Dante said simply. Emma stared at him in shock. You know? How? Because I've been investigating Marcus Sterling and his family for the past 2 years. I know exactly what kind of man he is, And I know he's been planning to take over your father's company by any means necessary. Dante stood up and walked to the window, his hands in his pockets. What I didn't know was that he had found such a perfect victim in you. Why would you investigate Marcus? What is he to you? Emma's hands started shaking. She looked around nervously, feeling like someone was watching her. She started walking faster, her heart pounding with fear. She didn't see the car coming. It appeared out of nowhere, speeding directly toward her. Emma screamed and jumped to the side, but the car clipped her anyway, sending her flying through the air. She hit the pavement hard, pain exploding through her body. The car didn't stop. It sped away, leaving her bleeding on the side of the road. Emma tried to move, but her body wouldn't cooperate. She could smell gasoline. Looking down, she saw it spreading across the ground beneath her, coming from a damaged fuel tank on a nearby motorcycle. Someone's cigarette lay smoldering just feet away. "Help!" she whispered, but no sound came out. Her vision started going dark around the edges. Then she heard the explosion. The mysterious savior. Fire engulfed everything around her. Emma felt the heat searing her skin, smelled her hair burning. She tried to scream but could only cough as smoke filled her lungs. This was it. She was going to die here alone and broken, with everyone thinking she was a criminal. Strong arms suddenly lifted her from the flames. Through the smoke and pain, Emma saw a man's face. Handsome, with sharp features and dark eyes that seemed to glow in the firelight. He carried her away from the burning wreckage like she weighed nothing at all. "Stay with me," he commanded in a deep voice that somehow cut through her panic. "You're going to be okay." Emma wanted to believe him, but the pain was too much. Darkness pulled her under like a wave, and she surrendered to it gratefully. When she woke up, she was in a hospital room unlike any she had ever seen. The walls were covered in expensive art, and the bed felt like lying on a cloud. Medical equipment beeped softly in the corner, but everything else was quiet and peaceful. Her phone rang. It was her father. "How could you do this to me?" he shouted before she could even say hello. "I gave you everything, trusted you with company secrets, and you betrayed me for money? You're no daughter of mine." "Dad, please, I didn't do any of this. Marcus and Vivian set me up, just like I tried to tell you yesterday. Marcus was the one who discovered your theft. He came to me this morning with all the evidence, heartbroken that the woman he loved could do something so terrible. He's offering to help clean up the mess you made, to save the company from the damage you caused." Emma felt like she was drowning. Marcus had planned this perfectly. Now he looked like the hero while she was the villain. "Please, you have to believe me. I would never hurt you or the company. I have 3 lawyers looking at the evidence right now. Unless you can prove your innocence, which seems impossible, I'm pressing charges. You'll go to prison for this, Emma." He hung up before she could respond. Emma sat on the hotel bed, staring at her phone in shock. Her own father was going to send her to prison for crimes she didn't commit. The man she loved had betrayed her. Her stepsister had helped destroy her. And no one, absolutely no one, believed the truth. The accident that changed everything. For the next 3 days, Emma lived in a nightmare. The media destroyed her reputation, calling her a spoiled rich girl who wanted more. Former friends avoided her calls. Sophie was the only person who believed her, but even she didn't know how to help. Emma's father had frozen all her accounts, leaving her with nothing. The hotel demanded payment, and when she couldn't provide it, they kicked her out onto the street. She walked through the city in a daze, not knowing where to go or what to do. Her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "You took something that didn't belong to you. Now you'll pay the price. Watch your back." She made it to the parking lot before her father caught up with her. Richard Monroe looked confused and angry. "Emma, what is the meaning of this? Guests are waiting. You're embarrassing the entire family. Dad, Marcus doesn't love me. He's been using me to get to your company. He and Vivian planned the whole thing." The words poured out between sobs, but her father's face didn't show understanding or sympathy. Instead, he looked even angrier. "Emma, I don't know what kind of cold feet nonsense this is, but you need to pull yourself together. Marcus is a good man from a respectable family. This marriage will secure our business future. You're not listening to me. He said terrible things. He's planning to steal from you. Her father grabbed her arm roughly. Enough! I will not have you ruin this day with your childish drama. Now get back inside and marry that man or you'll regret it. Emma stared at her father in disbelief. He didn't believe her. He didn't even want to hear her side. In that moment, she realized she was completely alone. The evidence against her. The next morning, Emma woke up in a hotel room with swollen eyes and a pounding headache. She had refused to go through with the wedding, and her father had literally thrown her out of the house. She had no money, no clothes except her ruined wedding dress, and no one to turn to. Her phone buzzed with notifications. Hundreds of them. With shaking hands, she opened the news app and felt her world collapse even further. Monroe heiress caught in corporate espionage scandal, read the headline. Below it was a photo of her and details about how she had allegedly stolen sensitive company information and sold it to Sterling Industries' biggest competitor for $5 million. The evidence looked damning. Emails from her account, bank transfers to an offshore account in her name, signed documents with her signature. All of it fake, but so carefully constructed that proving her innocence seemed impossible. Already done. By tomorrow morning, everyone will think Emma stole company secrets and sold them to competitors. Her father will be so ashamed. He'll sign everything over to me just to save the family name. And then you and I can finally be together without hiding. The sound of kissing made Emma want to throw up. She stumbled backward, her mind racing with horror and disbelief. Marcus, the man she loved and trusted, had been playing her this entire time. And Vivian, her own stepsister, was helping him destroy her. The public destruction. Emma burst into the room, tears streaming down her face. Marcus and Vivian jumped apart, their eyes wide with shock. Emma, wait, this isn't what it looks like, Marcus started. But she held up her hand to stop him. Don't you dare lie to me anymore, she said, her voice shaking with rage and pain. I heard everything. The whole disgusting plan. Vivian's face changed from shock to something ugly and mean. Well, now you know. Poor little Emma. Always so perfect. Always getting everything handed to her. Did you really think Marcus loved you? He's been mine for over a year. The words hit Emma like physical blows. A year? We've been planning this wedding for a year. And it's been hilarious watching you pick out flowers and taste cakes, knowing none of it mattered, Marcus said with a cruel smile. He wasn't even pretending to be sorry. You were just a means to an end, Emma. Your father's company, your family's money, that's what I wanted. You were just the boring bridge to get there. Emma wanted to scream, to hit them, to make them hurt as much as she was hurting. But instead she turned and ran. She heard Sophie calling her name, heard the guests starting to whisper as she fled past the ceremony hall. She didn't care. She just needed to get away. The perfect lie. The white roses in Emma's hands trembled like her heart. She stood in the bridal room of the Grand Plaza Hotel, watching her reflection in the mirror. The wedding dress hugged her body perfectly, making her feel like a princess from a fairy tale. After 3 years of dating Marcus Sterling, today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Her best friend Sophie adjusted the veil and smiled. You look absolutely beautiful, Emma. Marcus is the luckiest man alive. Emma blushed and touched the diamond necklace around her neck. Marcus had given it to her last night at the rehearsal dinner, whispering promises of forever in her ear. She had believed every single word. 5 minutes until we start, the wedding coordinator announced, poking her head through the door. Is the bride ready? Emma took a deep breath and nodded. Her father would be waiting outside to walk her down the aisle. Everything was perfect. Everything was exactly as she had dreamed. But as she stepped into the hallway, she heard voices coming from a nearby room. One of them was Marcus. The other voice made her blood run cold. It was her stepsister Vivian. Are you sure about this? Vivian's voice sounded worried. What if she finds out before the ceremony? She won't, Marcus replied with a laugh that Emma had never heard before. Cold and cruel. Emma is too trusting, too naive. She believes everything I tell her. After today, once I have access to her father's company shares, we can dump her and take everything. Emma's hand flew to her mouth to stop the gasp that wanted to escape. Her legs felt like water beneath the heavy dress. But what about the documents? Vivian asked. Did you plant them in her office like we discussed?